We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Disseminate propaganda to influence people's minds, and this is a major function of the CIA.
Hussein and his regime are concealing their efforts to produce more weapons of mass destruction.
Welcome back to Notify America. After years of stonewalling and cover-ups surrounding what happened on Jeffrey Epstein's island, who was there, why they went there, what the government knows about it, what the FBI knows about it, what they found at his island compound after searching it, all those questions remain unanswered still to this day. The FBI has the records, but they refuse to release them. Well, could we be about to obtain at least a small piece to the puzzle, the flight records? It's something that's tangible that should be easy to obtain, as the FBI, the DOJ, has them. They confirmed that they have them. Well, for whatever reason, Democrats in the Senate seem to be running cover for the FBI after Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn earlier this month said that she's going to request all flight logs of Jeffrey Epstein's to be subpoenaed and publicly released. Well, of course, whenever it comes to this story, when it comes to getting any shred of information, somebody in position of authority stomps it down. This time, it appeared to be the chairman of the Democrat-led Senate Judiciary Committee, Dick Durban, who, when asked why he hasn't agreed to subpoena the records, decided to play dumb, saying, like, who's Jeffrey Epstein? I don't know anything about this. Flight records? What flight records? Watch.
So when Senator Marsha Blackburn from the great state of Tennessee tried to subpoena the flight logs of Jeffrey Epstein, we were surprised that Senator Dick Durban from the great state of Illinois was making it difficult. And why hadn't Dick Durban subpoenaed the flight logs himself?
Chairman Durbin, can I ask you a quick question? Why won't you subpoena Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs?
So who are you?
Hillary Vaughn with Fox.
With Fox, of course. I don't know anything about his flight logs.
But why won't you subpoena them? Why don't you want to know?
I don't know the issue. I know who Epstein was, but I certainly don't know anything about the issue.
Well, he was charged with sex trafficking, so why don't you want to know who was utilizing his private plane?
Never been raised by anyone.
Well, Senator Blackburn has wanted to subpoena them, and there hasn't been a vote in your committee.
Said a word to me, not a word.
But aren't you curious, like, what high-profile or powerful people might be closeted predators and pedophiles? Doesn't that concern you?
Of course.
So why won't you subpoena them if you can?
It's the first time anyone has raised it. Thank you, Fox.
So are you curious about it? Will you do it?
Look, these flight logs have been a major thorn in the side of the Democratic Party, and we all know why. All the connections to prominent members of that party or people affiliated with the party were awfully close to this guy. Well, over the last week, the pressure campaign has heated up with one goal: issue a subpoena for those flight records. It seems like a no-brainer, right? Like, who wouldn't want to get to the bottom of this, or at least find out who traveled on the Lolita Express? That's the name of Epstein's plane. Jeffrey Epstein, as we know, was the chief pederast accused of terrible crimes, all assumed carried out while being an asset for Mossad or for the CIA even, or both, believed to be running a massive blackmail operation, finding ways to get in bed, literally, with people of power and clout, heads of industry, politicians, world leaders, cutting-edge researchers in different STEM fields. We know from public records that Bill Gates and Bill Clinton both traveled on the Lolita Express. Here are the flight logs that show Bill Clinton flew on Epstein's private jet 26 times. Then we have photos as well showing Bill Clinton getting a massage from an Epstein accuser. This is a question that Bill has never been asked about in any real way, never answered. And what about the blue dress? When you walk in the front doors of Epstein's mansion, his Manhattan mansion, or when you did, what was the first thing that you'd see? A big fat photo or painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress. Well, those are the names that we know. What about the names that we don't know? The people who are possibly still out there in the limelight in positions of authority and completely under the radar. Well, it took a few weeks, folks, a week of like public frogging to even get these people to address the issue or confront the issue, the questions, which they did. Watch this.
Senator Blackburn, before you leave, I want to make a point for the record, since I understand you made some statements about the Jeffrey Epstein flight logs. There's a Fox reporter in the hallway who asked me about this, and I said I had not spoken to you one time about this issue. I think you'll back me up on that. I'm not mistaken. I didn't know that this was even a subject of your amendments, which, if you'll recall, you were the first on the list until the 2-hour rule was invoked. I don't know anything about this request on your part. I'll be happy to discuss it with you. But I haven't done any discussion with you to this point, correct?
Mr. Chairman, I know, and I think you're fully aware that I had 2 amendments, one dealing with Epstein and Sotomayor. I'd brought it up previously.
I have to confess I didn't know that you'd offer that amendment. Happy to discuss it with you, but I want to point on the record. You and I have never personally discussed this, have we?
We talked briefly on the floor at the conclusion.
You never mentioned what the subject matter of your amendment was. You said you wanted to offer your
In committee, I brought up the subject matter of my amendments.
Not in my
3
presence.
weeks.
Oh, you know he's feeling the heat, right? This is not a good look, and he knows it. Well, it turns out he was lying, or he forgot, because we have the proof. Marsha Blackburn did raise the issue to him, and it was filmed. Here she is requesting the subpoena during a hearing in Judiciary.
Senator Blackburn?
Since we're in the business of issuing subpoenas now, here are a few more that I've filed. A subpoena to Jeffrey Epstein's estate to provide the flight logs for his private plane.
Thank you, Senator. When I recognized you, I didn't know what subject you wished to speak to. As I announced at the beginning, the first thing we'll consider the 2 judicial nominations, then we will move to the subpoena.
So where does that leave us? Well, after all of this, more than a week of public pressure and reporters pushing for transparency, when all the Senate Judiciary Committee has to do is issue a freaking subpoena. That's it. They do it every day. They issue subpoenas left and right. But this time, when it comes to child trafficking, to this specific issue, it takes this kind of public pressure to get any movement on it whatsoever. Well, during a hearing on Friday that just happened 2 days ago, December 14th, this happened. Watch this.
I also have a note here from Chair Durbin making clear his intention and willingness to work with Senator Blackburn on a bipartisan basis to obtain records relevant to the Jeffrey Epstein case that Ranking Member Blackburn noted. And so I want to make sure that that was made clear for the record, since Chairman Durbin has another engagement at this time and isn't here.
Look, you know Dick Durbin's between a rock and a hard place right now. He has to say something, but he knows he can't release those records. Either they know whose names are going to be on them, or they're scared whose names they'll find on them. Either way, he's now on the record agreeing to work with Marsha Blackburn to get the flight logs. Let me know what you think. What are the chances that we actually see them? Either way, we know where it stands. It's in Dick Durbin's lap, and believe me, we're going to stay on top of the story. I'll keep you posted. All right, that wraps up this episode. Press the like button, subscribe if you haven't already.